Debate, reprise de débat. The member for Kitchener Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll be splitting my time today with the member Conans of Similkameen, South Okanagan, West Kootenay. I'm going to share with the House today some recent figures from the Consumer Price Index, Canada's primary measure of inflation, and quite frankly, they're astonishing. As of April 2025, food prices purchased from stores have increased by 3.8%. This marks the third consecutive month where grocery prices have risen faster than the general cost of living. Key contributors include fresh or frozen beef, up 16.2%, coffee and tea, up 13.4%, sugar and confectionery, up 8.6%, fresh vegetables, up 3.7%. These numbers are not just statistics, they represent real struggles for Canadians trying to put food on the table. Let's break this down a little bit further. Ground beef has risen to $14.17 per kilogram. Ground beef. Tomatoes has risen to $4.69 per kilogram. 2 kilograms of white rice, $9.82. A pack of bacon, are you ready for this? $6.85. Let's have a look at just 2 pure essentials. Milk, 2 liters, $5.38. White bread, $3.48 a loaf. Infant formula now costs $48.24. For parents who are unable to breastfeed, whether due to medical, physical, or personal reasons, this isn't a choice, this is a necessity. And yet, at nearly $50 a container, how is the average Canadian supposed to afford the basic nutrition their baby needs to grow and thrive? For many families across Canada, grocery shopping has become more of a routine errand, and it has become a high-stakes strategy game. Parents are now forced to adopt tactics just to make ends meet, scanning for clearance stickers, timing their visits to catch markdowns, and relying on discount racks where the freshness of the food is at best questionable. These aren't just cost-saving habits, they're survival strategies, and they speak volumes about the growing cost of living. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to break this down to one example of what many would consider a modest, affordable dinner: spaghetti and meat sauce with a salad. 1 pound of beef, $4.72. 2 cans of tomatoes, $4.22. 2 onions, $2. Milk for the family, $5.38. Pasta sauce, $3.22. Iceberg lettuce, $3.07. Salad dressing, $3.29. Noodles, 2 packs, $3.94. That's a total of $29.84 for just one dinner. Now, multiply that by 30 days. That's $895.20 just to eat the same basic meal every night for 30 days. No breakfast, no lunch, no snacks, no fruit, no eggs, no bread, no cleaning supplies, no toiletries, just dinner. And we wonder why more and more families are slipping below the poverty line. I recently spoke with Extend a Family in Kitchener who are doing incredible work supporting children and adults with disabilities. They shared with me that, after being granted the disability tax credit, individuals with disabilities still struggle to meet their basic needs. Every month, they fall short on essentials like food, shelter, and transportation. There simply isn't enough. We need to do better. Mr. Speaker, why do I bring this up? Because we need a plan for Canadians. As a government, planning is not optional. It's our responsibility. And what is at the heart of any meaningful plan? A budget. How can anyone, families, businesses, or governments, make sound financial decisions without a budget? The answer is simple: they can't. Without a budget, there is no roadmap, no way to allocate resources, no way to prepare for the future, and no way to ensure that the most vulnerable among us are not left behind. Some may ask, why should I care if the government releases a budget? How does that affect my life? Well, here's how. The federal budget is Canada's financial blueprint. It outlines how the government plans to spend, invest, and manage public funds to support our economy and our people, and it matters deeply. Here's why. It helps steer the economy by funding infrastructure, job creation, and innovation, laying a foundation for long-term growth. It determines how much support goes to social services, things Canadians rely on every day. It sets tax policies and decides how revenue is collected and then distributed, impacting what Canadians pay and therefore what they receive in return. It manages our national debt and ensures financial stability for future generations. And at the heart of today's discussion, it addresses cost of living and affordability. It addresses inflation, housing affordability, and everyday expenses, issues that are hitting Canadians harder than ever. So yes, a budget matters. It's not just a document, it's a reflection of our priorities, our values, and our commitment to the people we serve. Navigating financial uncertainty is difficult under any circumstances, but when government plans remain unclear, it becomes nearly impossible. The absence of a clear, structured budget has created a ripple effect in uncertainties for individuals, families, and businesses across this country. Without a financial roadmap, we lack the stability and direction needed to support Canadians effectively. A well-defined budget does more than allocate dollars. It provides transparency, ensures fiscal responsibility, and empowers Canadians to plan their financial futures with confidence. As inflation continues to drive up the cost of living, we need more than vague promises. We need concrete measures. We need a budget that addresses economic challenges head-on and delivers real relief to the households that are struggling the most. There's a cost of living crisis in Canada right now. About 50% of Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck, according to Equifax Canada. This year, Canadians will pay nearly $17,000 on food, an $800 increase from last year. There goes that tax cut. 2 million Canadians visit food banks in a single month. Social media is filled with videos of people crying and struggling to make ends meet. According to the latest data from Statistics Canada, just over 106,000 people left this country in 2024, marking it the highest number of departures in nearly 6 decades. Will this Liberal government finally listen to the voices of Canadians, voices that have echoed and been voted on in this House, and present a comprehensive budget this spring? A budget that outlines clear plans for economic recovery, affordability, and long-term financial stability. Canadians are not asking for the impossible, they're asking for clarity and leadership, and for the confidence that their government has a plan. They deserve to know where this country is headed and how they're going to get there. When will the Liberal government hold themselves accountable to Canadians and put forward a budget? Will it be this spring? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before I go to questions and comments, when a member is sharing their time with another member, there is no need to refer to the member's proper first name or last name. The member did that at the beginning. Just want a reminder to all members, we're a little bit rusty with the return. We cannot refer to members by either of their names. You could just share your time with and a name the writing. So questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. The Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to go back to the Conservative 100-day plan. This is something in which Pierre Poilievre talked about in the last election. Nowhere in it did he give any sense or any sort of a commitment to a budget. Many people maybe that will be watching this debate might detect a little bit of hypocrisy when you get Pierre Poilievre now saying, oh yeah, we should have a budget, when he himself wasn't prepared to have it brought in within the 100 days. What we have is a Prime Minister that's been very proactive on the issue of affordability, and that's demonstrated in Bill C-4. Will she support Bill C-4 and recommend to her caucus that we pass it before the end of June so Canadians will get that tax break come July 1?
Great question.
Member for Kitchener Centre.
Inflation and food insecurity are pressing concerns in Kitchener. In 2024, 1 in 8 households in the Waterloo region struggled to afford food. Local food banks are sounding the alarms. stating that food insecurity is at an all-time high, with 25% increase in users needing food assistance. When will the Liberals table an actual budget and stop this inflationary spending that is causing this cost of living crisis?
Questions and comments, questions et commentaires. Le député.
The honourable member from Montcalm. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are facing a PM who's a banker, and when you ask him about his lack of transparency, he says, that's enough. I know what I'm talking about. Well, I wouldn't be in politics if there was no crises, and I will do what is needed so that all workers and families can get through this crisis. This is not a normal situation. Everyone agrees. It would have been relevant to have at least an economic statement to allow us to understand how we can lower taxes and balance a budget in 3 years while still helping companies and families and workers without revenues from counter tariffs. Does the Prime Minister have a magic wand?
I thank the member for his question, and I agree this is a crisis. Children in Kitchener are increasingly affected by food insecurity. 14,418 children used the food bank in the last quarter of 2024. Every child in Canada deserves the fundamental right to grow up free from hunger. Food is not a privilege, it's a necessity. A transparent, well-funded national budget must reflect this priority, outlining clear, actionable plans to eliminate food insecurity and support families across this country. When will the Liberal government table a budget this spring?
Questions and comments, questions et commentaires. The member for Kamloops, Shuswap, Central Rockies.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the member for her speech today. She mentioned a few times the desperation and the hunger that's being experienced. And my daughter lives in Calgary, belonged to social media groups, Moms and Tots. Moms trying to find someone that could give them infant formula or someone that could provide diapers to get them through the week until their next check came in. That's how bad this situation has gotten under this Liberal government. People can't afford to raise kids anymore. But we've got a government that won't present a budget to show how they're going to do that. Nonprofit organizations have to provide a budget and a balanced budget. Otherwise, they don't last for long. I come from a nonprofit background. Does the member think it would be appropriate that a government who regulates not-for-profit organizations should be held to the same standard and present a budget at an appropriate time? Thank you.
Member for Kitchener Centre.
I again thank my member for the question. I agree. I just had a conversation the other day, actually, about someone having to put groceries back because they needed to buy formula in their family. So the other children had to go without in order for the baby to have proper nutrition. This is a crisis we're in. Many households with employed individuals still lack sufficient income to afford food. When will the Liberals be accountable and transparent to the residents of Kitchener Centre and Canada and actually table a budget? Will it be this spring?
Resuming debate.